Welcome to World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss, the podcast for busy professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners who want to travel smarter, save money, and plan unforgettable trips without the stress. I'm Ross, your host and the founder of Itinerary Boss. I spent a decade building a career in healthcare, software, and medical device sales while planning both personal and business trips across more than 20 countries. Whether it was group getaways with friends, couples trips, or just mapping out business territories, I became the go-to person for saving money on flights, organizing those logistics, and using points to elevate the experience. Now, as an entrepreneur and business owner, I help others do the same by showing you how to travel better using points, smart planning, and those proven strategies. Each week, we bring you expert guests, step-by-step tutorials on points and miles, and real-world itineraries that we've used to help you plan with confidence. Whether it's using points to travel better, exploring a new destination, or just learning how to maximize your spending, we've got you covered. Before we dive in, go ahead and grab one of our free tools in the show notes. One, the points and miles cheat sheet that'll help you get started earning and redeeming points to save thousands on travel, or the stress-free travel toolkit that includes a budget guide, packing checklist, and planning tips to save you time and hassle. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or busy professional looking to choose your next credit card or get help maximizing your everyday spending for rewards and booking free travel, book a free one-on-one consultation. You can find the link within the show notes or head over to itineraryboss.com. And if this episode helps you, please share it with a friend or family member, follow the show, and leave a 5-star review. It's the best way that helps us grow. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss. I'm your host, Ross. And if you're joining us from the last few weeks' episodes, welcome back on our Points and Miles series. And if you're a first-time listener, make sure you go back and listen to the first episode of why credit cards can be game changers, and then just continue on down that solo path if you're really trying to start from the beginning. But if you're here to learn about the power of welcome offers, you're in the right place. So, diving in, what is a welcome offer? So a welcome offer is when you sign up for a specific credit card and then there is a minimum threshold you have to spend to then earn a certain amount of points. So there's going to be a couple different ways. So personally, if you're looking to get a card for your personal expenses, that's going to usually have anywhere from if you're talking kind of the beginner to intermediate points cards. Those will be range anywhere from the 60,000 to 80,000 range. And then as you get more into the higher level advanced ones with some of those annual fees, which we're going to get into in our next episode and kind of pick those and dive deeper into those. But those are usually going to be anywhere from it can be 60 to 100,000. I think the nice thing is, and sometimes they'll have elevated offers where they can be even more. But if you have a card in mind, I always recommend, depending on what your personal use case is, not waiting around. But if you're not in any sort of rush, sometimes there's different offers that will come out where there are elevated offers, and you can get some. Like one of our favorite personal cards came out with one that was a limited time for 100,000 points for our favorite beginner card with transferable currency. So always just keep an eye out. We provide all those in our newsletter, on our social media, just making sure that you stay in tune with, everything that's going on. But that's what a welcome offer is. And a lot of the time, it's usually for most cards that we see, it's going to be like a minimum of $3,000 when you're first starting out, and then if you start to get into the more, higher end cards, sometimes those will be for $5,000 for personal, and then from a business standpoint, those can range, anywhere from 6 to 15 to 30, and then at the time we're having this episode, there is a crazy welcome offer that is you can earn up to 350,000 points when you spend 230K. So there's definitely there's definitely a power in some of these welcome offers. But what I'm going to do is, you know, I, I explain what a welcome offer is. And a lot of the times, once you get those, you're definitely going to want to earn about 2 cents per point. So what does that mean? So let's just say you have say you get 100,000 points, right? You want to make sure that that is equating to $2,000. So not going back in, and if you go back and listen to any of our beginner mistakes that you don't want to make, not redeeming those for statement balances, not doing it for gift cards. We don't recommend sometimes doing it in the portal. I mean, you can, but those are just some mistakes that we don't recommend. But if you want to learn from some of those lessons, go back and take a listen to that episode. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and walk you through just welcome offers, specific, just what you would see. So if you were to go to this, so you would pretty much go in here. Sorry, my computer is. So if you came into favorite credit cards, you then can see, when we're talking about a welcome offer, earn 60,000 membership rewards after you spend $6,000 on eligible purchase, right? That's one of the higher end cards. If you're looking for more of a no annual fee card, you could also earn, right, $200 after you spend $500. So there's cashback type cards. There are also rewards ones. This was the one that, this is you spend $5,000, you earn 60,000 bonus points. And the thing about that is this is the one that we were referring to that at one point had the $100,000 offer. So these are all personal. Same with this, these are our personal favorites. But then when you start to dive into some of the business cards, here are the ones that, you'll see this is what you'll earn back. And then if you want to kind of learn more, you know, you can dive into Read Our Take, and that will really help. But then when you start to get into some of the business cards, that's where you'll see limited time travel offer, right? Earn 150,000 membership rewards after you spend $20,000. So that's one. And it just, you can go in and kind of see where it has those. And a lot of the times it'll say limited time offer, elevated offer. One of the craziest ones that I've ever seen currently is this one, which is the Capital One Venture X business for a limited time. And we're recording this on June 4th, 2025. But you can earn up to 350,000 bonus miles if you spend 150K or if you spend, sorry, hey, I wanted to take a quick break to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. The only way the show grows is through listeners like you helping us share it. So if you're enjoying the show, it'd mean the world to me if you hit that 5-star rating, shared it with a friend or family member who's ready to travel more, save money, or just needs a little bit more inspiration and that nudge. And if you're posting about it on Instagram, go ahead and tag Itinerary Boss, and we'll make sure to reshare it and shout you out for giving us a shout out. Thanks so much for the support. It truly means a lot. And now back with the show. Sorry, if you spend $30,000 in the first 3 months, you earn 150,000 points, and you can earn an additional 200,000 miles once you spend another $200,000 in the first 6 months. Something that you also would earn is 400,000 miles because you would be spending after that first 3 months, you would be spending $200,000 and this card gets two times the points. So you're ultimately getting 750,000 miles for spending that. So if you're a high spending business owner, this is a great offer and these are transferable. So we'll kind of get into that. But that's just what our welcome offers. What are a couple specific examples? A couple just welcome offer wins that we always like to highlight. So recently, and it ended on May 27th, 2025, but there were some crazy offers on Virgin Atlantic where you could find economy seats for 4,000 miles. For business class, there were some that were going for like 27 to 30,000 miles. So with a welcome offer, whether it's your personal card where you're getting 60,000, that would equate to potentially two business class seats from JFK to London. Lie down flat, going over overnight, and like that's a great opportunity with the welcome offers. And you start to get into the higher, business spend ones, that's where, that would equate to if you had 750,000 miles. I mean, 30 divided by that, some back napkin math. I mean, we're talking about 20 to 25 business class seats just for paying for that. So that's where it starts to get fun. Um, a use case that we did was we actually picked up, I picked up this card from I picked up two of these cards, one for property management business, one for itinerary boss, and got at the time they had $100,000 welcome offer for they had 100,000 welcome offer for each time you got one. So I was able to get that. Each card led to then a one seat, a business class seat from Atlanta to Bangkok, Thailand on our honeymoon, cash price of $5,600 per seat. So with those two welcome bonuses and the 200,000 points that we had, we were able to get $11,200 of value. So that is truly the power of welcome offers. And they don't all have to be those big of redemptions, right? Like I said at the beginning, that's almost that's going to be almost 5 to 6 times per point. If you're hitting two, that's great, right? So something that I really love is using the points from the card that I just mentioned and transferring them to Hyatt. And this is beautiful because those are transferable currencies. You can see that Hyatt, you can find some amazing hotels. And from a category standpoint, um, up to these amounts per night. So that's kind of crazy. And just examples of some of these, I'm going to Wichita for a conference in October. I'm paying 3,500 points a night. There's Chicago Riverfront that is 15,000 points a night. That cash price is over $600. So, I mean, you're saving, and that's being transferred. Either you can use the co-branded Hyatt card or that's being transferred over from one of the banks that we just mentioned that we got one of those welcome offers from. If you're an all-inclusive person, right, you can then find these from this amount of points a night, which is kind of crazy because you're thinking, you could go on a depending on your style and where you want to go. I mean, you could go on an amazing vacation for less than 100,000 transferable points a night at an all-inclusive where all your food's already paid for, all your drinks, everything, right? So I think that's kind of the power of welcome offers when you can compare that. And that's the nice thing is if you're going through here and you want to find different places that Hyatt has and you have a specific destination in mind, I would just start there. And you also can obviously research it, but if you have a certain amount of points and you're just trying to figure out where should I use these, this is going to be, a great resource. And, we stayed at, just to give a couple personal examples, just of recently in the past few months, we stayed at when we went to Bali on our honeymoon, we stayed at some of these amazing five-star luxury resorts. That this is the Leela Bood. So this is actually one of Alila is the luxury, so it's the top of the top Hyatt. We stayed at this for, I mean, you're literally in the jungle, and we stayed in this for 12,000 points a night, which is kind of crazy. And then we also stayed in the Alila Seminyak, which is more on the beach. And this is, I mean, I couldn't recommend this place more for families, for myself, for couples, right? This was just so amazing. You have a pool. There's three different pools. I mean, it's just like your own little compound. And it's awesome. It's right there on the beach, central within Bali. And then the Alila Uluwatu is another place in Bali. This is 40,000 points a night. This is awesome. They have one bedroom villas that literally have a pool that overlook the Indian Ocean. So this is another great place. And we also stayed at a five-star luxury resort in Phuket, Thailand, the Hyatt Regency, which was 15,000 points a night. So you can start to see the power of welcome offers where we were able to stay at, we for the Seminyak one, we, upgraded to a ocean view villa, which was only 29,000 points a night. So for 4 nights, we were staying there for 120,000 points, which, isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. And overall, our hotel spend was less than 200,000 points, for almost 10 days of stay. So that's something to keep in mind, and just the beauty of some of these welcome offers and power. Then I want to just dive into, if you're also thinking through, it's not only the transferable currencies, but if you're starting to dive into hotel branded cards, I think that's another really powerful tool. So, for example, we knew we were going to stay at all these Hyatts on our honeymoon, so we actually went and picked up the World of Hyatt. I'm gonna just find this for you. But we went and picked up the World of Hyatt credit card, which should be on here somewhere. There we go. This one. So it had a welcome offer of 60,000 points. You spend $3,000 on purchases from the time opening, plus 30,000 more per total dollar spent in the first 6 months. So what's nice is since we picked this up, we earned the welcome offer where we stayed or sorry, where before we went, and then since we were staying at all of those Hyatts when we were overseas, we made sure that we had $0 on our balance, so we then could spend to earn as many points. But the nice part is too, since we were staying and spending at the Hyatts, this earns 9 points per dollar spent at Hyatts. So that's and we're a World of Hyatt member. So that's the beautiful part is we then were amplifying our spend, combining that with our welcome offer, and that was earning us additional points in that next 6 months. So it comes out to strategic planning, right? If you have somewhere that you're going, plan that out. If you're planning to stay at hotels, like thinking through that. So my wife picked up this one. This is one that I picked up because at the time, they had an amazing earn 5 free nights, and it actually is back at the time of this recording on June 4th, 2025. But within spending $5,000 on purchases, we know we had our wedding hotel block and our rehearsal dinner, where there was going to be a lot of expenses on the IHG one or at the Kimpton, which is part of IHG. So we picked up that card. We knew we had some expenses coming up. We made sure to map out spending that amount to earn the 5 free nights. Those 5 free nights then turned into one, we used one of those free nights within Bangkok on our honeymoon because we knew we'd be staying there. So we were able to then use that card while we were there at the IHG to pay for any expenses, which if you pay with this card at any IHG properties, it equates to 26 times the points, which is, I mean, crazy. So if you're planning to stay at any of these IHG properties, you're earning a ton of points on that. And then we also were able to, this upcoming November, we're staying in Grand Cayman at a Hotel Indigo, which is a new, I'll just pull this up for you just to kind of show. So we're staying at this property in, and this has so many awards. I mean, this is like a new property that is in Grand Cayman that, I mean, people have talked about and I've seen great things on. So I think I mean, this is it's kind of like a little boutique hotel that's right on the water, and you have some amazing stuff. It's dead central in Grand Cayman. So we're super excited. And the cash price from that was over $3,100. So that's the beauty of this, right? We were able to get those 5 free nights. And then just one other thing is you can see it earns 26 times the points. Other things that you also get, and then you also get a free anniversary night. So that's another free night. You get a fourth night free when you redeem points for 4 night stays. And you also get platinum elite status plus global entry and TSA. So that's the beauty of it is you kind of start to strategically use this welcome offer, and then you're able to earn all those free nights. And then the nice thing is since we were spending a lot of those point, or since we were spending those dollars while on our expenses for wedding at the hotel, we were doing the rehearsal dinner, those things, we were amplifying that, and we were able to also earn an additional 105,000 points now at IHG. So in addition to all the free nights we're getting, we also have an additional 105,000 points that we can use for additional nights in 2026 and beyond. And then since we're staying at the IHG within Grand Cayman, we're able to also earn 26 times the points while we pay on that card for everything while we're there. So we'll probably have another 50,000 or so points from our, 4-day vacation there, which is the beauty of it, which will turn into more free nights. So that's kind of the power of welcome offers. It's not just those 5 free nights. It's then thinking, I mean, that's the beauty, right? But then it's also thinking of, okay, if I'm going to these places, why wouldn't I strategically just open up this co-branded card that's giving me these bonuses, but also it's giving me additional accelerators for being a part of the program and staying there. So my thought is, and my suggestions always are, think about, are there places that you already have going from a vacation standpoint that you can kind of strategically open some of these co-branded cards? And then from a flight standpoint and just having kind of your everyday go-to card, think through what are, the specific travel styles. Do you have a family? Are you a couple? Where do you want to travel? International, domestically, right? I think those are the biggest things. And then that can help you pick a card. And I break all this down. And if you're a business owner, I do one-on-one free consultations, and I help break this down, understand, send you over a detailed intake form. That way I can understand your business, help you dive through kind of everything from a credit card standpoint, spend, understand, where are you maximizing that? And if you need to find a new card, help you there. But also just talk through, what are some of the strategies I've seen? What are some of the challenges other business owners face? And what are some of the offers that are going on now? So that's one service I love to help people out with. And just one last thing is, when you come in here, you can also think about there sometimes are some of these right now there aren't, but like for example, over the weekend, last weekend, they had a 20% bonus over to Qantas. So I was able to book 4 flights and save 10,000 points just by using the transfer bonus. So thinking of usually they'll have it up here where it'll say like 20, 30, 40% transfer bonus and it'll give you the time. But like for example, we were flying on British Airways to Grand Cayman. I didn't have any American points or Alaska points to fly, so I was able to use Capital One miles to then transfer to British Airways, which is operated by the same American flight that is going to Grand Cayman. So instead of paying over $600 out of pocket, I was able to transfer over what would usually be 32,000 points. But with that 30% transfer bonus, it only cost me right around 26,000 points. So that's the beauty of it when you have these transferable miles and you're wanting, and that's why I always say know your hub because British Airways will operate on a lot of them. British Airways will be on a lot of operated American flights. It'll also fly out of where American's a hub. So understanding where that is super important. But that's the beauty of it and transfer bonuses. So I know we got into some of the details, but I think I wanted to give you some background. A couple just pitfalls before we go. Don't go open, don't say, oh, this is great. I'm going to open, 15 cards this year, right? I think the biggest strategy is, look at your daily expenses, what are your goals? And then from there, dial in, okay, this is probably the best card for my day to day. And then if you start to have upcoming trips, right, thinking about what are maybe some hotel branded cards if that makes sense to then earn a welcome offer. And then, going back to our beginner mistakes, if you want a recap of that, go back and listen to that episode. It's quick. You don't want to do any of the gift card statement balances. And also, if there's a transfer bonus and you're going somewhere, always taking advantage of that. But appreciate everyone tuning in. make sure you if you're new to Points and Miles, grab that Points and Miles cheat sheet. That's free. It's in our show notes. It's kind of everywhere if you follow us. We have it because we want to make sure you're able to get started and with four easy, simple steps. So appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll talk to you next week, and we're gonna dive more into our annual fees worth it, right? What are some of the perks? What are some of the upgrades to help you maximize the benefits? And I think you probably got some of the gist today of what we covered. But appreciate everyone tuning in, and we will talk to you next week.